Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Strixhaven draft. Now, there's a few cards in here. Oh, there's a foil opt. I bet this looks amazing in paper. So we have Blade Historian as our rare, and I don't think I guess I'm taking Blade Historian. I was gonna say I don't think I've drafted red-white yet, and I was probably gonna go for this, but in reality, what I was considering was between this card and Eliminate, because the black-based decks seem to be really strong, but I guess I can go outside my comfort zone for this. Chaos Warp? No way. Okay, let's see. Semester's End. Exile any number of creatures and/or planeswalkers you control. Beginning of the next end step, return them into the battlefield under their owner's control, and each of them enters with an additional 1/1 counter if it's a creature and loyalty counter if it's a planeswalker. So it's basically Ghost Wave for creatures and planeswalkers. Chaos Warp is really funny. It's very strong, too, but it's also really dangerous. I guess frequently we would turn stuff into lands, but occasionally we would turn stuff into stuff that's way better than lands. I think the best card for our deck, especially if we're going for Blade Historian, is definitely Thunderous Orator, because whenever it attacks, it gains flying. If you control a creature with flying, and the double strike, it's got the whole list, right? So we just build like a big board state and keep swinging in. But I'm passing on a mythic rare and a rare that would, in theory, be in my colors. So I'm signaling that those are going to be wide open, which might be a huge, huge mistake. So let's see. Pilgrim of the Ages. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for planes, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. And I can return it from my graveyard to my hand. There's a 2-mana 1/4 Spirit Summoning, which is just a lesson that makes a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. This card is actually reasonable. I think it's probably the best card for us, because if we end up with a few of the learn, what is that card called? It's the core that's a 2/1 that learns. We can curve that into this and have a good aggro curve. Blood Age General is okay. Elemental Masterpiece is amazing in the blue-red deck, but I'm going to take Spirit Summoning here. Ardent Dust Speaker. 5 mana 3/4. Whenever it attacks, you may put an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. If you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you may play those cards this turn. Pillar Drop Rescuer. Whenever creature enters the battlefield, or whenever it enters the battlefield, return a creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Otherwise, there's Inkling Summoning as a rare, or as a foil. The rare is Necroblossom Snarl. Or we can take an Introduction to Annihilation. I think the Dust Speaker is actually reasonable, because it's like late game card draw value, which I think red and white would struggle with quite a bit. Okay, so in this pack we have Beaming Defiance, which is a pretty excellent, does not synergize with Thunderous Orator, but it's a pretty excellent combat trick. It's +2/+2 and gain hexproof. What does this spell do? As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice 1 or more creatures. When you do, copy it for each creature sacrifices. So you draw a card and lose 1. Interesting. So there's another Spirit Summoning or Make Your Mark. Make Your Mark is a powerful combat trick. Just giving a creature 1/0 is good enough, but allowing it to trade and potentially upgrade into a bigger creature is very good. I want to take another Spirit Summoning here, though I don't know if that's correct. Dragon's Approach, I feel like you have to start by drafting a rare dragon. I'm going to take the Spirit Summoning. We'll see what happens. Okay, so Sudden Breakthrough. Target creature gets 2/0 first strike until end of turn, creates a treasure token. Eager First Year. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, it gets 1/0 until end of turn. That's reasonable for a bear. Guiding Voice. I think Guiding Voice is going to be important, especially if we do have these lessons. I expect a few of these to wheel, and I should probably take the Eager First Year, but I really hope we get a couple of those, because I think this is actually a pretty good combat trick. I know the 1/1 counters are the Silver Quill mechanic, but there is going to be a little bit of overlap in the white area. So I'm going to take Eager First Year here. Infuriate is an excellent combat trick. It's very aggressive. Shine Shadow Snarl, card that I have a lot of difficulty saying. Could allow fixing to allow us to go into 3 colors. There is Eager First Year Lorehold Pledge Mage. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, it gets 1/0 until end of turn, and it has First Strike. That does synergize with Thunderous Orator pretty well, as this will gain First Strike. I think I'm going to go with Infuriate, because it's a much more powerful combat trick, and it starts like earlier on the curve. We can get more damage in quicker. I think I'm going to take another Infuriate. Make Your Mark or Star Pupil would both be good. Actually, I kind of want Star Pupil, but I'm going to take Infuriate. I think the power level of this combat trick is going to be a lot higher. I will take Make Your Mark here, I think. Twin Scroll Shaman, 3 mana 1/2 with Double Strike is a little underrated, or a little overcosted for what it does, I think. I will take Make Your Mark. Semester's End, I will take as a combat trick. I could Teach by Example as a way to, like, clone an Infuriate or a Make Your Mark. As a double red combat trick, that's not bad. We almost could play mono red with the cards that we have. Eager First Year and Thunderous Orator. Like, we could just be mono red splash white. Semester's End is bad with tokens, though. I think I am going to take... Well, no, it's a rare I don't have. No. I'm going to take... Ah, crap. I took the wrong card. I should have taken the Smite the Monstrous effect. So we've got Blood Age General or Ageless Guardian. Blood Age General is just a bear, which potentially could be good because we do have a lot of cards that do summon spirits. I will take the Inkling Summoning. I think that's a fair sideboard card. Another Make Your Mark or a Dragon's Approach or Beaming Defiance. I'm going to take Make Your Mark. We're going to try and lean very hard into aggro here. Dragon's Approach, I mean, we could play if we wanted 3/5 of a Lava Axe. And Eager First Year came all the way around. That's a good sign. Eager First Year just being a Grizzly Bears with half prowess, offensive prowess, fire-breathing prowess, whatever you want to call that, is good with the Infuriate Make Your Mark plan we've got going on right now. Okay, so Silver Quill command. Choose 2. Target creature gets 3/3 in flying. Reanimate a creature CMC 2 or less. Target player draws a card and loses a life. And target opponent sacks a creature. This card is actually very good. The problem is, we're basically mono red splash white. And we don't have a lot of creatures right now. This card is very strong. Not necessarily in Constructed, but I can see in Limited how it would be very good. I think I'm going to take it and we're going to try and splash it. Because otherwise in this pack I would take like a Combat Professor or a Star Pupil. Combat Professor is very good, but alright. In this pack we've got Illustrious Historian, Thrill of Possibility. Grinning Ignis is more for the red-blue deck than it is for any other of the red-based decks. I don't think I want Thrill. I already have 2 Make Your Marks, and we need more creatures, so Historian it is. He does have a little bit of value. He can exile himself from the grave for 3/2 Spirit. I am really hoping that we can get a couple of the 2/1 cores that learn when they enter the battlefield. Alright, in this pack, there's an Expel, another Illustrious Historian, and a Tome Shredder. Tome Shredder is actually decent. There are a couple of cards that trigger off of exiling cards from a graveyard. This guy can also get kind of big, and at worst could just be a haste 2-power attacker. Expel is a decent removal spell, though. Although, we're probably with Infuriates and Make Your Marks going to be trading up frequently, so we may not need as much removal in this deck. I think I'm going to take a Tome Shredder, because that's my only real 3-drop at the moment. This card, while technically main deckable, I would rather tutor for. Okay, so in this pack, we've got the Biblioplex. This card is reminiscent of the Library of Alexandria, but much worse, obviously. So 2 mana tap, look at the top card. If it's an instant or sorcery, reveal it, put it into your hand. You may put it into your grave if you don't. Activate this card only if you have exactly 0 or 7 cards in hand. So if we empty our hand, this can actually draw us a bunch of cards. What are our other options in this pack? We could take Team Pennant, because we will be making a bunch of tokens. Heated Debate. Heated Debate is good removal. It can't be countered. Does 4 damage, which is important because there are several 4 toughness creatures in this format. I think I got to take Heated Debate over the Biblioplex. This is going to be more generally useful, whereas the other will only be useful if we go late. Elemental Summoning we can play in this deck if it does come around. I doubt it will. I will play Professor of Symbology. This is the card I was kind of hoping I would get because I can curve it from 2 into 3 with Spirit Summoning. Alright, in this pack there's a Lorehold Campus. I don't mind that at all. Reflective Golem. Reflective Golem is quite good with Infuriates and Make Your Marks. So the question is, would we rather have a tap land or would we rather have a Golem? I think in an aggressive deck, which is what I'm trying to build right now, I would rather have the Reflective Golem, because our mana is not going to be that difficult, especially with all of these hybrid costs, and this gives us incredible power with our Infuriates and Make Your Marks. Claim the Firstborn. This is another spell that's very good in aggressive decks because we can clear a blocker out of the way. If we had a sack outlet, it would be a lot better. But the sacrifice stuff is pretty strictly in the green-black set of cards. I could take Study Break, as that's another good learn spell in the 2-drop slot. We could clear the way, get, you know, a Spirit Summoning or something like that. I think Claim the Firstborn is higher power, so I'm going to take it, though. Alright, we got past a rare. Flame Scroll Celebrant. Whenever an opponent activates an ability that isn't a mana ability, it deals 1 damage to that player. It has double fire breathing, and its backside is an instant that says your opponents can't cast spells or activate loyalty abilities this turn. Okay, that card is definitely worth playing in this deck. I'm a little bit sad to pass Lorehold Apprentice, as Lorehold Apprentice can give us a lot of reach, but Celebrant, obviously being a rare, is higher power level, and I think much more worth it. So Combat Professor is good, but I think I would rather have Star Pupil. I have no 1-drops yet, and Star Pupil as a 1-drop is not terrible. It's great with Make Your Mark, and if we play a 2-drop and swing with the 1-drop, or, you know, for some reason it dies or we have to block with it, it can upgrade our other creatures. Silver Quill Campus we could take to splash Silver Quill Command. Okay, I don't think I'm playing a 3rd Make Your Mark. I'm probably not even playing the full suite of combat tricks that I have right now. I'd probably take Thrill of Possibility to help us dig in the mid to late game and trigger Magecraft. I really like this negate. I wouldn't be playing Elemental Masterpiece in this deck. Basically none of these cards. So I'm going to take the card that I want the most for constructed purposes. Relic Sloth as a top end I think is fine. Ageless Guardian, the only card in this pack we can actually play. Dragon's Approach in the sideboard. And a Deadly Brew in the sideboard. Okay. Kind of hoping we get a couple more Professors of Symbology. And then maybe a couple more good lessons. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, I love the Time Warp. Is it worth anything? I might take it. I wish I was playing the Is It spells because, oh my gosh, it's so cool. I love taking extra turns. I think everybody knows this by now. It's one of my favorite mechanics in the whole game. Strixhaven Mystical Archive. It's worth 3 tickets. What am I passing if I take this? Rares in colors I'm not playing. A Heated Debate, which is a big deal. Oh, Heated Debate is definitely the card we're supposed to take. 100%. Because it's so good. But the Time Warp is so... I just can't play the Time Warp. I'll have to buy some later. I'll buy like a playset of them, because I love the art. And someone's going to be very happy to get past that. It kind of sucks that we're taking a common out of a 3 rare, a 2 rare, and a mythic rare pack. But I think that's the way it's got to be. Another Reflective Golem, I think, is probably where we should be here. Other options are a Star Pupil, an Introduction to Prophecy, or Pigment Storm. We have a decent number of creatures now. I think I'm going to take the Pigment Storm, as this is pretty good removal. The trample damage to your opponent could matter quite a bit. Reflective Golem is nice, especially with how many potential combat tricks we can clone. But I think Pigment Storm is going to be a little bit better. Alright. In this pack, there's a Lorehold Pledge Mage and a Fuming Effigy. Fuming Effigy synergizes with Tome Shredder. But Lorehold Pledge Mage has First Strike and synergizes with Thunderous Orator. There's another Pigment Storm. I kind of want to take the Pigment Storm over the Pledge Mage, actually. Alright, Divine Gambit. I'm not going to be able to play in this deck. Reconstruct History. This card is interesting. Getting back an artifact, enchantment, instant, sorcery, and Planeswalker. Not creature, though. So we could get, like, Reflective Golem. We don't have any enchantments, to my knowledge. So maybe this isn't the deck for this. I guess I take Clever Lumimancer, though I don't know how good it's going to be in this deck. In theory, it could be amazing with all of our combat tricks, but other than that, it's potentially very bad. I think this is definitely a constructed card, not a limited card. My other options would be Expel, Pillar Drop Warden, or technically Divine Gambit, but I'm going to take Clever Lumimancer. I'm going to avoid Divine Gambit at all costs. Reduce to Memory, I like as a removal spell. We don't have that many learn cards, unfortunately. Defiant Strike is nice, just being able to trigger our Magecraft as well as draw another card. But I think Rip Apart is better. This card is basically a Sorcery Speed Abrade plus, and while the Sorcery part hurts, it's still a very good card. So I'm going to take Rip Apart. There's a Detention Vortex in this pack. That's kind of exciting. I don't think we'd play Revitalize. Sudden Breakthrough. I think I'd take Detention Vortex. I think this is the best card we could play out of this pack. There's a Faithless Looting. Faithless Looting is pretty good. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Make a tapped 3/2 red and white spirit. So this is some late game value. Otherwise I can take a Lumimancer and we can just try and like burst our opponent down with a bunch of cheap spells. We'd have to hope Looting wheels, and I don't know that it will. I'll take the Lumimancer. We'll try and play aggressive, I guess. Another Pigment Storm would not be bad. But I think taking the Thrilling Discovery here is probably the way to go. We've got, we have a bunch of cheap spells, but this can get rid of the spells we don't need and draw us into more, hopefully. So put the Spirit Summonings in the sideboard. Yeah, I think I take Thrilling Discovery there. Stonerise Spirit does synergize with the Orator. Defend the Campus as a Smite the Monstrous effect or as an Anthem could be good. We are getting pretty low to the ground. And the Smite the Monstrous effect isn't bad. I'm probably going to end up cutting that card, but I'll take a Star Pupil, because we're going to have to try and be aggressive here. I don't know how many Make Your Marks I can play, but Fuming Effigy is nice, because we do have a few things that exile cards out of our own grave. I'll take the Expel. It looks like I'm in the open lane, whatever this deck is or is called, but Pillar Drop Rescuer. I guess I could play as top end. Sudden Breakthrough. Probably not playing as a combat trick, and Bayou Groff. Can't believe I had to pass a Time Warp. Feels bad, man. Okay, time to build a deck. So let's group creatures separately and take a look at what we're dealing with here. How many spells do I have that learn? Just the one. Okay. How do we want to do this then? We may actually want to play one of these, as it's a creature that's... it's effectively a creature spell that triggers Magecraft, which will be kind of important. We have a lot of creatures and a lot of non-creatures. We're not playing Silverquill Command. I'm not going to work on trying to splash that. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. I'm going to cut Defend the Campus. Semester's End. It could save us from a Wrath, but I honestly think this is more of a sideboard card than anything. I'm going to cut Expel, because Expel kind of requires that we... are more on defense, and I don't see us as doing that. Blood Age General. We have some spirits, but not enough. I kind of want to curve out about here. So I don't think I'm playing Relic Sloth or Pillar Drop Rescuer. I can maybe see Ardent Dust Speaker. Infuriate, Claim the Firstborn, Detention Vortex, Make Your Mark. Hang on. Magecraft only triggers when you cast an instant or sorcery spell, so despite how good I think Detention Vortex is, I don't think it's going to work in this deck. Thrilling Discovery and Thrill of Possibility. I think I cut Thrilling Discovery, as Thrill of Possibility effectively does the same thing. It doesn't dig quite as deep, and we may yet want both, but I don't think so. We have a lot of combat tricks and a lot of removal. I foresee this deck being consistent, if nothing else. I don't think we need to play Ageless Guardian. We did not get any of the 1-mana, 1/1 counter and learn spells like I had hoped. I'm going to cut Ardent Dust Speaker. I'm going to put one Spirit Summoning actually in this deck, and I think that means I'm cutting... I think I'm cutting Claim the Firstborn. Because this card is really good, but we can only steal small creatures with it, and we have no sack outlets. And so, while the occasional active treason effect is good, I don't think it's going to be good in this deck. Okay, so we really have like 15 creatures and 10 non-creature spells because of Spirit Summoning. I'm going to run 8 and 8, and I'm going to run 41 cards. Cool. Well, we have an aggressive Lorehold deck. Let's see how it works. See you guys in round 1. Alright, round 1 will be on the draw. If we draw red mana, this hand is potentially very good. Opponent leads on plains. We draw a mountain. Play Lumimancer. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a mountain into a Lorehold Excavation. And they get to mill one. We could rip apart just to destroy the excavation and get in for some damage. The alternative is to play Thunderous Orator or Professor of Symbology. I think we play the Professor this turn. Yeah, Let's play the Professor this turn. So we'll go ahead and learn Spirit Summoning. Pass the turn. Next turn we can rip apart and make your mark, or we could play Orator and make your mark, that sort of a thing. Okay, opponent plays a Mountain into a Twin Scroll Shaman. We untap, we draw Star Pupil. So go to combat. Attack with both. Opponent does not block. Okay. Have them take 2. Play the Mountain. Play Spirit Summoning. I guess I should have played this first and then swung in to at least, or swung in with this creature to at least guarantee some damage, and we'd have the Professor back to block, but now watch my opponent cast like 3 Infuriates and kill me. That'll be fun. Opponent untaps. They play a Mountain. Detention Vortex on the Spirit. Okay. Then they play a Spirit Summoning. They attack us for 2. Sure. Take 2. They mill a Detention Vortex. We take a damage. We draw Plains. Play a Plains. So let's see. We have a number of different things because we have so many different spells we can cast. I think we rip apart... Actually, let's rip apart killing... I think we have to destroy the enchantment because they're about to the point they're going to start getting value out of it. So we pump the Lumimancer. We can attack with both of these. Then depending on which one my opponent blocks, we can make our mark. Or we can just trade. Okay. Opponent does not block like I thought they would. We'll play Star Pupil. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Guiding Voice. They're going to upgrade the Double Strike creature and learn. They get Expanded Anatomy. So they're going to expand the Spirit. Alright. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks. Can block here and prevent 5 damage. And I can make your mark now to get an additional attacker. We really need to top deck a Mountain though. Alright. Yeah, if we top deck a Mountain here, we're golden. So make a Spirit. I'm going to put the counter on the Lumimancer. Opponent passes, we draw. Another Lumimancer. Play it. Play Orator. Orator? I don't know how to say that word, honestly. I'm not about to look it up. Opponent untaps. Plays Plains. Plays Professor of Symbology. So opponent's deck is a lot like ours, except better in a lot of ways. It's almost like they didn't focus on going hyper-aggressive and decided to go mid-rangey. They've got a 4/5 with Double Strike and Vigilance now, so no reason for them not to attack with that. They go to combat, they attack. I'm going to chump with our 0/1. Okay, we draw a Reflective Golem. Play Reflective Golem. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a land. Go to combat. No attacks. We untap. We draw a Heated Debate. So we can kill the Spirit. I think I'm just going to activate Detention Vortex. Pass the turn. If we can draw our other Make Your Mark, our deck gets a lot better. Okay, opponent plays a Lorehold Campus. I mean, like, our attack gets a lot better. Not our deck. What am I saying? Kano, use your words. Opponent attacks with the Double Strike. Nope, they change their mind. If we draw a Mountain, we're going to Pigment Storm the Double Strike. Chump with the Professor. We untap. Draw Plains. Play a Plains. Heated Debate. Magecraft. Our guy becomes a 3/4. The Spirit goes down. We go to combat. I guess I'm opening myself up to potentially a combat trick here. But, like, they just probably trade off with the Vigilance, and then if they draw a combat trick, they just kill us with the Double Strike. It's probably not all that unlikely, but I still think our best attack included that guy. They go to 5. So now it's basically combat trick or bust. They need to have some sort of reach that lets them get 5 damage. And with a Double Strike creature, that's not that unlikely. If they're attacking here, they have it. We go to 5. Watch them, like, Apex of Power me, or whatever it's called. Okay, Blood Age General. We untap, we draw a mountain. Pigment Storm the general, and that should be lethal. Alright, we got there. Whew. Do I want Detention Vortex? It might be better than the second Pigment Storm. I think I'm just going to run it back. I probably really want Claim the Firstborn here, because I could steal their double striker for 1 mana, and that would be absurd. Okay, well we have a play on 1, a play on 2, and a play on 3, so I'm going to keep. Opponent starts with Lorehold Campus after mulling to 6. We draw an Eager First Year, play Star Pupil. Opponent untaps, plays a mountain, passes. We draw a Clever Lumimancer, go to combat. Attack our opponent for 1. I guess technically I should have played out another creature in case my opponent had like destroy target attacking creature, but I don't think it's that likely they kill a Star Pupil that early. Play Eager First Year, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a Plains, plays their double striker. We untap, draw Tome Shredder, play a Plains, play Lumimancer. We'll go ahead and rip the Twin Scroll Shaman apart. Magecraft triggers. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 4. Opponent goes down to 15. They play a Plains into Radiant Scroll Wielder. Instants and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile 1 at random from your graveyard. You may cast it this turn. Alright. We draw Thunderous Orator. So we cannot profitably attack into our opponent here. So we're going to play Tome Shredder. Pass the turn. The instants and sorcery spells you control have lifelink is a very powerful rider. They have no instants or sorceries to exile at their upkeep. They play a mountain. They're at 5 mana. Guiding Voice. They put a 1/1 counter on their guy. Then they get Spirit Summoning. They're going to Detention Vortex. I'm going to exile Rip Apart to put a counter on this. They go to combat, attack for 3. No blocks. Then they cast Spirit Summoning. We untap. Draw Blade Historian. Play Spirit Summoning. Go to combat. Attack for 5. Okay, opponent's going to trade with the Eager First Year. I think that's correct. I think that's the best block they could make. Opponent untaps. They exile Guiding Voice. So they can cast Guiding Voice and learn again. That's pretty good. Just recursive value here is pretty strong. They get Expanded Anatomy, so they can make their guy huge. They Pigment Storm our Star Pupil. I'm going to put a counter on the Lumimancer. Opponent attacks us for 4. No blocks. We'll go to 9. If they exile that Pigment Storm, we are in trouble. We draw Make Your Mark. Really wish we had drawn a land. Destroy Detention Vortex. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 7. If they get unlucky, I guess an exile Spirit Summoning, and we top deck a land so that we can play Make Your Mark. That's pretty good. Nope, they got Pigment Storm. So we're actually just dead. No, we're not just dead, but they're gaining a lot here. I expect they'll probably Pigment Storm the Tome Shredder. Yep. Okay, and it has lifelink, so they gain a bunch of life. Opponent goes to combat. Hits us for 4. We go down to 3. Alright, we untap. Draw Lumimancer. Play Thunderous Orator and the Lumimancer. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 4. They go to 12. They untap. They exile Spirit Summoning. They play a Plains. So they've been top decking lands for a long time. They play Spirit Summoning and Expanded Anatomy, presumably. The question is, which creature are they putting it on if they're doing that? Okay, they're going to put it on their Radiant Scroll Wielder. Well, we got a block. We finally draw another mountain. Play Blade Historian. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Can exile Expanded Anatomy. I was going to say, for basically getting to cast all of their spells twice, that's pretty good. They pump up the Spirit. Worst part is we have to block both here. So the Lumimancer, we can get up to a 4/4 with double strike, and we can attack with Blade Historian. The problem is this stupid Spirit. I think I actually block like this. We either want to draw a land or a cheap creature. We untap and draw a Thrill of Possibility, which is not really what I wanted. So, go to combat. Attack with the Orator. Opponent scries 1. Opponent doesn't block. So we're going to Thrill of Possibility, discard Pigment Storm. Okay, the idea there was maybe we draw Infuriate, which would be exactly lethal because we have 2 of them in the deck. So we hit our opponent for 4. Play Professor of Symbology. We'll tutor up Spirit Summoning. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Can't exile anything. They draw a card. They go to combat and attack. Well, block and block. And I think we're just trying to draw into Infuriate and hope our opponent has nothing. Pillar drop Rescuer. And they pick up their double striker. And that's going to be the game. Because we don't have anything that gives trample. And we don't have a way to reset the board. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Alright. We kind of got mana screwed, and our opponent played all of their cards twice. They also gained 10 life. That's pretty good. I'm going to bring in Detention Vortex over a Pigment Storm. And hopefully that matters. Maybe I want the Claim the Firstborn? I don't think so, though. Alright, we'll play first. Yeah, that's a mulligan. This, on the other hand, I think is a keep. And I'm going to put back a Plains. Lead on Mountain, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Draw Plains. Or they play a Plains, I mean. We draw Thrill of Possibility. Play a Plains. Play Eager First Year. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Plains into a Professor of Symbology. They get to learn Expanded Anatomy. We untap. Draw a Mountain. Play a Mountain. Play Illustrious Historian. And pass the turn. No attacks. I guess maybe I should have attacked and Infuriated, but like, I feel like we need to save Infuriate for a bigger attack turn. The only time it's bad is if my opponent Expanded Anatomies here, because I have nothing else to do. Lorehold Pledge Mage is actually a huge problem because of the natural first strike. I feel like I prioritized the wrong set of cards. Okay. Play another Eager First Year. Pass the turn. They untap. They play Zephyr Boots. And they equip them to the Professor. Go to combat. They attack for 2 and they loot. So next turn is the turn we attack. They discard a Plains. They play a Plains. We untap. We draw Plains. Play a Plains. Go to combat. Attack with the team. Whatever they block, we Infuriate. So Magecraft triggers. We land the Infuriate. We kill their Pledge Mage. They take some damage. Then we play Flame Scroll Celebrant. Pass the turn. If we draw a card we don't like, we can just Thrill of Possibility next turn. Opponent untaps. They may play Expanded Anatomy just to give their creature Vigilance this turn. They don't. I'll feel really silly if they have a Wrath in that deck. I keep forgetting I need to play around Day of Judgment against white decks. Opponent loots away a Prismari Pledge Mage. I think they're just screwed off of red mana right now. They play a Stonerise Spirit. We untap. Draw a Reflective Golem. So lead off of Thrill of Possibility. Magecraft triggers. Draw some cards. Clever Lumimancer and Professor of Symbology. Go to combat. I think we attack with... Actually, we just attack with these two. Because this attack is completely free unless they have a combat trick. And they don't. We take them to 9. play the Professor, get a Spirit Summoning, pass the turn. So opponent untaps, they go to combat, they attack with their Looter, they hit us for 2, they draw a card, they discard Detention Vortex? That must mean they have a Wrath. Silverquill Pledge Mage, and another Detention Vortex. Okay. We untap, draw Heated Debate. Heated Debate, kill the Pledge Mage, because the life gain is something they could use to get back into this game. This is a lot like how we felt last game, where we just kind of got mana screwed and our opponent kept playing spells. Play Clever Lumimancer. Go to combat. Swing with the whole team because it's lethal. Opponent should block the Flame Scroll Celebrant. Okay, they go to 2. It's basically Wrath or Bust at this point. Okay, they attack us and get to loot. And they finally discard a Mountain. Alright, we won the match. Though our opponent's deck was much better than ours, I am almost 100% positive. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright. Round 2. We're a little light on lands, but we have removal and a combat trick and a creature, so I'm willing to keep it. Hopefully we draw one of our 1-drop creatures. I think that would be the best way to get on board, and then we just rip like nothing but lands for the next 4 turns. That is not a 1-drop creature, but lead on plains, pass the turn. Opponent plays a forest. We draw plains. Alright, well, that's good. Play Eager First Year. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Quandrix Pledge Mage. We draw Star Pupil. Play a plains. Let's go ahead and Heated Debate. Clear the way. I could have used Infuriate, but I think Infuriate is better saved for a turn where mana is tighter. Hit our opponent for 3. Opponent untaps. Opponent plays a Master Symmetrist. And his 3 colors, apparently. We draw Flame Scroll Celebrant. Well, time for another Heated Debate. Go to combat. Hit them for 3. Man, Revel in Silence really could be just like a time walk if you silence them on their upkeep in limited. Opponent plays a 2/5. Interesting. We draw plains. Play a plains. Go to combat. Attack for 2. No blocks. Okay. So we can either play a 4/3 or we can play Flame Scroll Celebrant and Star Pupil. I think we play the 4/3, actually. We're kind of hoping to draw another red source so we can Pigment Storm. Opponent untaps. They play a Witherbloom Pledge Mage. We untap. Draw a Thunderous Orator. Are we willing to trade Infuriate for the Pledge Mage? I think we just play out more creatures. Play Star Pupil. Play Orator. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They draw. They go to combat. No attacks. And they pass. We untap. Draw another Eager First Year. Play the Eager First Year. Play Flame Scroll Celebrant. Pass the turn. I'm kind of glad we used those Heated Debates when we did. Because all of the other creatures our opponent has played have much higher than 4 toughness. And by much higher, I mean 1 higher. Opponent gains life with an opt. And then they divide by 0, bouncing Fuming Effigy, and get to learn. Getting basic Conjuration. They are gaining a lot of life. So they get to dig through their deck and then play a whole bunch of... and then get a whole bunch of mana off their guy. What is happening? Opponent plays a Professor of Zoology, which is a 4/3 that gives them a pest. We draw a mountain. So play the mountain, Pigment Storm. We kill the 5/5. Trigger the Eager First Years. Opponent has a counterspell. That's pretty good. Cannot pay. Problem is their recurring life gain is kind of an issue. And we did not get on board fast enough. I mean, we did, but we didn't apply enough pressure. Okay. Opponent is definitely on like a big spell, rampy teamer deck. We draw a Tome Shredder, which we can play and make big, I suppose. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent casts Basic Conjuration. They gain a whole heck of a lot of life. Opponent gets a Needlethorn Drake. Adds 4 red mana. Plays an Igneous Inspiration. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and say we've lost this one. Because they could just Runa and copy that too. Good combo deck. How do we get around this? Can we get around this? I may want the Smite the Monstrous effect. And I think I want Detention Vortex. And that's probably better than Rip Apart in this particular matchup. Because Rip Apart doesn't kill a lot of things, and we didn't see any enchantments or artifacts we needed to kill. I think I cut 1 Infuriate. We'll try it like this. I mean, Infuriate is a lot of our power level, right? But we would like to play first. Alright, I will keep this. Lead on a mountain. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent leads on island. We untap. Draw plains. That's not what we want to see. Play Flame Scroll Celebrant. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a forest. We untap. Draw Eager First Year. Play a plains. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Okay, opponent no blocks. They go to 18. Play Eager First Year. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They're going to Field Trip and get to learn. They get Environmental Sciences, so they're going to fix their mana. We untap. Draw Pigment Storm. Play a plains. Go to combat. Attack for 4, but actually 6. We do want to draw another red source. Opponent untaps, plays an island, plays a Quandrix Pledge Mage, then plays Decisive Denial. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Well, time to make our mark. So they're going to lose their guy here. We're still be on the... we will still be on the attack, and we still get a guy out of this. Okay, so we untap, draw a Thunderous Orator, play plains, play the Orator, go to combat, attack for 5. Opponent takes 5, goes to 7. And we are representing lethal unless they have removal or life gain. And we know they can gain 2 life off of Environmental Sciences. They play Environmental Sciences. They get a mountain. They play a mountain. And then they play Rutha. So, Heated Debate. We miss out on 1 damage by doing it on our turn, but I don't think that's going to matter in the long run. I potentially would rather cast whatever I draw next turn. We untap, draw a mountain, play a mountain, go to combat, and attack for 7. And now we have a Pigment Storm next turn for whatever they play. They go to 2, and they scoop. Exactly how we drew it up. I don't know if we make any adjustments for being on the draw. I mean, I don't think so, so I'm going to run it back. Alright, so we're on the draw, and I think this is fine. Any land gets us to Spirit Summoning. If we top deck a Plains as our first draw, this hand is amazing. Opponent plays an island, passes. We draw Eager First Year. Unfortunately, we did not top deck a Plains. Second island. We draw a mountain, so play Flame Scroll Celebrant. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a mountain into Heated Debate. Okay. We draw planes. So, play Spirit Summoning. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an island. Passes. We draw a Clever Lumimancer. I could play Blade Historian, but I think my opponent might have a counterspell. It's still probably the best thing we can do here. Play Blade Historian. If they don't have a counterspell, they're going to be quite sad. Or I guess a kill spell they could still have. Divide by 0. Put it back in our hand. They learn Environmental Sciences. We hit them for 3. They untap. Environmental Sciences. They gain life. They get a forest. They play the forest. And they have something else. Quandrix Apprentice. Okay. We untap and draw a mountain. Play a mountain. Play Blade Historian. Go to combat. Attack for 6. Okay, opponent takes 6. Then we play Clever Lumimancer. Pass the turn. Next turn we can Professor, get our other Spirit Summoning, trigger Lumimancer, and have a big double striking board swing. Or they can Igneous Inspiration, learn, get an island. Sad day. They get Fractal Summoning. So they play an island, and they Field Trip. They get a forest. Then they learn Basic Conjuration. This guy's learning so much. This guy's a nerd! Lorehold, beat face! We draw Defend the Campus. Play Professor of Symbology. We'll go ahead and learn Spirit Summoning. Play Spirit Summoning. Double Prowess. Go to combat. Attack for 5. I'm kind of hoping they dump all of their mana into a huge Fractal Summoning, then we just smite it. So, opponent blocks and trades with the token. Opponent plays Runa. Then plays a Needlethorn Drake. We untap. Draw a mountain. Play the mountain. Go to combat. Attack with everybody. Opponent blocks and blocks. I can Anthem everything to save my Professor of Symbology. But that's all I would be doing. I was hoping they would block here. It's probably not that reasonable of a thing for them to do. Are we worth trading here and losing the Professor and dealing 0 damage? I think I have to Anthem with this play I made. This play was so garbage. I'm sorry. They did not do what I expected them to do. So we pump our whole team. They take 3 and go to 8. They untap. Play a forest. And here's where we get completely destroyed by a giant fractal. Oh, I thought they were going to twin that spell and get 2 5/5s. We draw a Heated Debate. Play Eager First Year. And I think I have to kill her right now. Yeah, I think I do. And I don't think it's worth attacking into the fractal here. But allowing my opponent to twin a spell would be very terrible for us. So, pass the turn. Hopefully we draw Pigment Storm. Opponent untaps. Plays Basic Conjuration. They get a Master Symmetrist, which we also now need removal for. Serpentine Curve, they get an 8/8. That's pretty good. We untap. Draw planes. Things are not looking good for our Intrepid hero. I mean, that bad attack didn't help, but pass the turn. A big part of this hand was not getting double white, and our opponent having an early Igneous Inspiration to kill our Blade Historian. Because we could have absolutely taken over the game with double striking guys. We don't have a way to get him back either. Opponent attacks for 13. Take 13. We go to 7. And they have more. Yeah, it's pretty good. Draw a Thunderous Orator, and we're going to go ahead and call it. Alright, see you guys in round 3. Alright, well, we have double of both of our colors. And we're on the draw, so I think we're fine to keep this hand. It's not amazing, though. Opponent leads on Island. We draw a Blade Historian. So now if we can only draw a 3-drop, we'll have a full curve. We need to draw a 3-drop within 2 turns, and then a land within 3. Okay, we untap. Draw Professor of Symbology. Play the Professor. This does give us a 3-drop, if it resolves, of course. So get a spirit summoning, pass the turn. Opponent plays an island. Plays a biomathematician. Makes a 1/1. We untap. Draw planes. Play a planes. Spirit summoning. Make a 3/2. Upgrade Lumimancer into a 2/3. Go to combat. Attack for 2. No blocks for the opponent. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play an island. They pass. We untap. Draw Eager First Year. So we can either double spell this turn, or we can play Blade Historian. Honestly, kind of want to play Blade Historian. I mean, Quandrix has a lot of counterspells they could play, which would suck, but I guess Blade Historian gets better the longer we wait, too, because the more creatures we have that can attack with Double Strike. Opponent tucks the token. Okay. Okay, we first strike down the Fractal. Pass the turn. Next turn we have Pigment Storm, and then we're going to be attacking for a lot more. They play Manifestation Sage, and they make a 4/4 Fractal. Okay. We untap, draw Historian, play a Plains, Pigment Storm the Fractal, Clever Lumimancer trigger, go to combat, attack for a lot. Approximately 12. Opponent takes 12, goes to 5. They untap, and they scoop. Just like we drew it up. Alright. I'm gonna bring in Claim the Firstborn. Because if we steal a big Fractal, that could make a huge difference. I'm gonna drop an Infuriate for it, I think. And opponent scoops the match. Alright. Well, I don't think I drafted that deck correctly. However, it was fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier. And, yeah. I hope you guys know that you're all wonderful human beings, and I really appreciate the viewership and support. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We're very, very close to that all-important 1,000 subscriber mark. It'd mean the world to me if we could get there, and it's getting pretty close to my birthday. That'd be a pretty sick birthday present for me. Planning on streaming on my birthday. It's a non-standard stream day. Announcement will come when it is a little bit closer, but it's not that far off, so... Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!